All right, today we are going to talk all about schooling, and I'm going to put a big asterisk here because I can't legally advise you on the best schools because I'm a realtor and I do this whole thing. But I will say I can give you some educational insight into what schools we offer so you can make the best decision for you and your family. So let's dive into this video today and talk all about schools on Oahu. If this is your first time watching one of my videos, my name is Marina Tolentino and I'm a real estate agent here on the island. I've been doing this for the last 5 years and I'm just so blessed and honored to help about 25 families a year either decide to buy or sell a home on the island. But beyond that, I love to just be a resource to everybody, whether they're moving here for the first time or they've lived here their whole life and they're just looking for new options and kind of seeing what's new on the island. This is your new resource. I want you to follow us on YouTube, hit that follow button, like and subscribe so that you never miss a video because I have a new one coming out every single Friday. So let's jump into the video all about schooling. So let's start with the big and the obvious, and that is public schools. So there is dozens and dozens of public schools all across the island, and you'll be assigned to one based on the zip code where you choose to live. It's pretty self-explanatory, but for some people, you might be saying, I don't like the school where I'm in the zip code, right? Like I want to change schools. Can you do that? Yes, there is such a thing as exemption and waivers you can get through the school office to actually attend a school in a separate school district or zip code, but it's really limited. And I do feel like I've seen in media and recent just hubbub in the community that it's being used and abused. And so they're really starting to crack down on the school transfers. Now, one of the reasons this might make sense is let's say your student is looking for ROTC, right? They really want to join the junior ROTC program, but your current school district doesn't offer that. Well, maybe they can get you into one closer to town that has those programs. Let's say your student's musically gifted and they really need orchestra class and you only have high school band, like certain programs can be an option to do that. Same thing like STEM, robotics, those really niche categories that are harder to find at all the schools might be one way to get a waiver and into those school zones. Now, another one that's most common is if you're in a school district that's underperforming and it's consistently been doing that year after year after year and you have a gifted student, you could also get that exemption waiver just to ensure they're getting the best education. But again, this is kind of first come, first serve, and it's not a guarantee. You really have to advocate for yourself and your children and work with that school office to get that done. So then let's roll over into charter schools. So there's all different types of charter schools here, from public charter that are free up to paid charter. And I think the big special thing about those charter schools here in Hawaii is some of them really focus on Hawaiian immersion. And so they're actually teaching Olelo Hawaiian language in the schools. You're fully immersed in more of that cultural aspect of it, where they actually are growing taro out in the school garden, and they're really teaching cultural aspects in the school day versus a standard traditional school. There are also charter schools. I just heard about one close to Tripler that's very STEM and robotic focused. And so for your really techie kids, like they love coding and they want to know all about AI, maybe that's a really good charter school to put them in. And that's free. And again, it's a public charter. But with lots of these, because there's so few of these niche ones, they are in high demand. And I'll say a lot of them are monopoly system, or not monopoly, lottery system, wrong word. So what happens when it comes time to apply is you're going to put your name in the pot. And if it gets drawn, you're the lucky one. If not, you're most likely going to get waitlisted in case someone drops out. But it could take a year or two to get them into the school that they really want to. All right, so let's dive into the most expensive option, which isn't always feasible for all of us, but that would be private. So Oahu has a lot of private schools, and for good reason. Like I mentioned, some of our public schools might not be the most desirable, and so for those families who can afford it and want to make that investment in their children's education, you can go private. And so there's all different varieties, from religious denominations up to, again, more techy. So the most famous, I would probably say, is going to be Punahou, which is in town, which is where Barack Obama went. A lot of our athletes have come from there, and just some really prestigious people come from Punahou. But it ain't cheap. I mean, it's going to cost you $22,000 a year to go there, right? The next one's going to be, what else? Like Hanalani and Mililani is really popular for Christian schools. Just really good biblical school. We've got Hawaii Baptist Academy. You've got Island Pacific Academy in Kapolei. The list goes on, right? There's so many different options. So really with this, if you're gonna go private, it typically starts about middle schools when I see a lot of those parents make that transition. Sending your kids to private school is just an investment that not everybody feels isn't necessarily worth the bang for your buck. But when you get to that middle school years, you start to see a big boom in the 6th to 7th age ranges, but you're starting the planning 1 to 2 years prior. And again, reason for this is these are highly competitive schools. Not everybody that applies gets in, right? And it costs a pretty penny. So we're going through financial aid with the office. We're really working out all of your options and even scholarship opportunities as well well exist. So just keeping in mind, those are like your three big buckets. You've got the public, you've got the charter, and you've got the private. Now let's kind of roll into homeschool, which is my favorite category because I get to do it right now with my children. Hawaii is a very homeschool friendly state. And I love this about our state. They really don't crack down on what kind of curriculum you can use, on the testing. Like it's pretty much a free-for-all in the sense that all you have to do if you're moving here, if you've never homeschooled before, is go to that school district wherever your kids are assigned by zip code, and you just submit a simple form, which I'll link it in the description below so it's handy for you. Submit a form, the office looks at you and they're like, thank you very much, and that's it. That's it. Like they don't ask any questions about what are you gonna do with your kids or why are you choosing to homeschool? No interview, no nothing. Like it's kind of crazy to me how simple it was. They even allow something called unschooling. So if you are a very free, open nature type of family and you don't even want to use the books, you don't have to, because like I said, they literally don't check. So it's up to you and your family what kind of curriculum you like to use. But one thing I'll mention outside of homeschool is if you're kind of in that in between and you're like, I don't know if I should homeschool and I don't know if I should put them in a tech academy or, you know, some kind of private situation. There are hybrid schools as well, which kind of merge both worlds. And so this is something my family and I is kind of looking at right now for the future. My 5th grader will be going into middle school soon. And so I'm looking for a challenge for him, kind of more than what I can offer him at home. So there's a school called Hawaii Tech Academy out of Waipahu, and they're actually on all the different islands throughout Oahu too. So Kauai has it, Big Island, Maui, you name it, which is kind of cool. And they offer 2 different routes. So one is hybrid program where you're only in school 3 days a week. And then the other 2 days of the week, you just jump on the laptop and learn remotely. You can do a lot of your work self-paced at home as well, but you still have like a coach and people helping guide you. And then another alternative is a newer school called Dream House out of Ewa Beach and Kapolei as well. Very hybrid based, way more independent focused. So like the kids get their curriculum on their iPads and their Chromes or whatever, but it's up to them on when and how they want to complete their work. And then they have coaches instead of teachers to help them complete that. So it's a little bit more entrepreneurial focused, like definitely more free paced, whereas it's not 25 kids learning the same doctrine, same hour, recess break. Like they really get to take advantage of the time as how they choose. So just depends on your kid and how they do with self-directed learning. But with that said, there is a whole plethora of schooling options, which I love for our state. If you have specific questions, like I said, I can't necessarily tell you what's better or what's worse. It really just comes up to you and your family. But this is where you got to do your due diligence, reach out to people on Facebook groups, kind of ask, get some community feedback. If you go to church, ask your people at church, hey, what schools do you like? What do you not like about them? What's coming up soon? And just realize those deadlines come before you know it. Like I said, my kid's 5th grade right now. In the fall, I already am planning applications next month for him to start 6th grade next year. So it starts an entire school year prior to actually when you want them getting in. So with that said, I hope this was helpful. And just keep in mind, this is one of the small sections that I have in my giant PCS guide to Oahu. So if that's you and you guys are a military family with orders to the island and you want to know everything you need to know top to bottom about how to get here, what you should expect, etc., I've got that link below so you can get that free download. And I have one page on schools, so this is more of an expansion on that page, but it just helps you give insight into realistic expectations on moving to Hawaii. So be sure to email me if you guys have questions, and I look forward to chatting with you guys soon. We'll see you next Friday. Bye.